This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global at the final press conference here for White Chisora-2. Delighted to be joined by the big horrible heavyweight David Price. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You look like you've slimmed down.
Slimmed down a touch, yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Slimmed down a touch, yeah. Don't know what I'm weighing. We'll see tomorrow what I'm weighing, but I'm fit. I'm healthy. You know,
Yeah.
that's the main thing, yeah.
Was that done intentionally?
No. What happened? I've just changed my training program from when I say my training, my boxing stayed the same. The strength conditioning program's changed from what I've been doing for years, which is more strength and power based, but we've gone more down the endurance type training, muscle endurance training, more running. I've ran for this fight probably when I was about 28 years old, which I didn't think I could, but I can. So I've just trained and haven't dieted, so to speak, but trained hard and ate well, and you know that's what's happened. But I do feel better when I'm around this weight. It's common sense, you know.
Despite whatever setbacks you've had, you seem like to be the heavyweight just won't sort of lay down and.
Well, do you know what? I mean, this year's been a bit of an odd year this year. I've had two big fights in big stadiums and everything else, and they've both been disappointing for different reasons. But I'm in a bit of a different situation from a lot of other heavyweights because I haven't got a promotional contract.
Yeah.
So for me to get them two fights this year, it's been a gift really, regardless of the results. But now, you know, I've took my losses and you know whatever else. But now it's about getting back on the winning trail. That's the important thing for me. Not that I didn't try to win the last two fights. You know, the Povetkin fight that came close. The last one, you know, it was what it was. But now, you know, I got offered to fight Carlos Takam for Saturday night. But I have to look at the bigger picture a bit now. You know, it's not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination, and he'd be going in it'd be probably 60-40 in his favour. You know, you've got to play the numbers game now. Me and Tom Little, that's a fight more viable for me at this time. And that's not to say Tom Little isn't going to be a difficult fight, because it is. It's going to be a good fight. I've done a lot of sparring with Tom, so we're going to gel well, and it's going to be a good fight for the fans. So, but it's about getting the win and trying to get a bit of momentum and put a few wins together, because you know I've lost 3 of my last 4 fights, and all said and done, you know, aside from it being your job and you're earning a living, you box to enjoy the victories and to enjoy the glory, and that was why you've done it. It's like going back to when I was an amateur. You're in it for the glory, and I've missed that feeling of being a winner, and that's what I'm desperate to feel again.
Was the Kuzman defeat a little bit difficult more to swallow than the Povetkin defeat? Because we know how close you came in that Povetkin fight. And then it was a bit unfortunate, obviously, circumstances in the Kuzman fight. What was kind of more difficult to take for you out of those 2 fights?
It was the Kuzman fight was difficult because it was the circumstances surrounding it, and there's more to it than meets the eye. I mean, the injury was a big issue going into it, and on the night, Joe Mack took it out of my hands, and we'd had an agreement before the fight that when he said it was time, and if it was becoming a problem, I had to give him my word, because we didn't want another Povetkin situation on our hands, and given the circumstances going in, the preparation that I'd had was next to nothing really. You know, it was about kind of damage limitation, I suppose. So as long as you know, you have to speak to him more on that. But I got in there and tried to do what I could early on. It didn't work out. But the pride aspect of that was difficult to swallow after. You know, the pride. Part of me wanted to. Part of me was wishing I would have got carried out on a fucking stretcher. You know, because it's that fighter instinct in you. But when you give your coach and your friends your word before the fight that you know it's not going to come to a disagreement, then you have to be a man and stand by your word, and that's what happened. But after it was the pride, and then, do you know what? Like anything in life, though, and the more I'm in this sport, and the more defeats I've had to take, you learn to deal with them better. And that's not to say I'm in a defeatist mentality, but you accept that it's soon forgotten about. 2 weeks or a week or two later, there was another big show happening, and someone else was going to lose, someone else going to fight, and why should I carry something around with me that the majority of people will stop talking about pretty much soon after? As soon as Povetkin and Joshua got in the ring, it was probably forgotten about. So there was no point in me beating myself up for too long about it when it was what it was. And like I said, there was more than met the eye to it. So at the time I'd had a little holiday and come back, I was fresh, and I was like, what's the next move? Now I did negotiate this fight into the Kuzman, because when I got offered the Kuzman fight, none of us wanted it. I wanted it for financial reasons, but when I got offered it, I was looking at my situation. I haven't got a promoter. The fight with Sean Turner was off in Belfast, but they were looking for a different opponent. But the reality was, the way I was feeling and the way training was going, I wouldn't have fought on that show. I would have pulled off it. So things weren't looking too clever. So in taking the Kuzman fight, I said to Matchroom, I'll take this fight, but if it doesn't go to plan and I don't win, I need you to get me back out again, and this is why I'm here now. So all said and done, I don't regret it. Just try and view it as like a bit of a sparring session that people watched, and my injury flared up, my trainer pulled me out, and that's it. We move on, and you'd have to go on to the next one.
It seems like, I know, listen, people's opinions are what they are, but it seems to be kind of a split between half the people think that you should call it a day, and the other half are kind of willing you to kind of get to where you want to get to. It seems that way.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that. Look, part of me, there are days where I think, do you know what, should I call it a day? No, there is days where I do think that. Not recently, because I'm feeling good, I've trained well, but a couple of months ago, there are times where you do have them thoughts, because the opportunities didn't seem to be very good in the future, until that Kuzman fight come along. Like I said, I negotiated this, and so now I've given myself a bit of a lifeline. And the people who were calling for me to retire, then I understand where they're coming from. Anyway, I done an interview before the Kuzman fight, and I was bullish about it, and I was like, you can fuck off, these people. And people are quick to want boxers to retire. I've seen an interview with Martin Murray. A lot of people want him to retire. People want to see boxers retire for different reasons, and if it's for good reasons, as in like, they just want you to get out the game happy and safe and healthy, then sound. But if it's just because they dislike it, or for whatever reason, then that's when you're like, well, fuck off. But my thing now is that I'm 35. I really haven't got that much mileage on the clock, believe it or not. If you look at it, like I said, if you look at how many rounds I've actually done, I've suffered 2 knockout defeats. Is that worse than going 10 rounds in a brutal war, or 12 rounds? Only a surgeon or a neurologist would be able to tell you that. But I've suffered 2 bad knockout defeats. I've had a couple of times where I've gassed out, and people are putting it down to mentality issues and things like that. But is it? Or am I just not as good as everyone once thought? Who knows? So it's a difficult one.
I think the question's always been, because from the early part of your career, your first sort of 10 to 15 fights where you were knocking everyone out, people kind of now wonder, do we ever get to see that kind of streak that David Price was on back then? Do we get to see that now?
Probably not. And
probably because of the calibre of opponents you're facing as well?
That, and the reason being is, when you're cutting through everyone like a not buttered through knife, like I was, like it or not, a lot of the fights you win before you get in the ring. They're beaten before they get in the ring. Audley Harrison, Sam Sexton hardly threw a punch at me because of the reputation. And when you're gaining that momentum, that's what happens. But then when that aura is gone, everyone fancies, and it just makes things that little bit difficult, you know. And that's just how it's been. And now, you know, I don't expect to go on a streak like that again because of the caliber of opponents, and it's just.
But is it still a confidence thing, David, with you or not?
Yeah, no, it's a confidence thing because look, that's what I'm saying. I wanna get some momentum with the winning. So win Saturday night, go again, win again. If we put 3-4 wins together, I might be having a completely different conversation with you. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, Tom Little, what we've seen of Tom Little through his career, his game, and he's gonna want to make a name for himself as well come Saturday night.
Big opportunity for Tom Little, and you know his last 2 fights have been at a good caliber as well. So he'll be coming in and he'll fancy the job, and that's why it's going to be a great fight for the fans to watch. But I do believe I'm going to have too much for him. You know, when I do want to do a number on. And after the fight, we can shake hands and resume our friendship that we've got, because we get on really well. But this is strictly business, and it's about you know, getting that win that I'm desperate to get.
David, I will ask you from 3 weeks ago. Obviously, we saw Tyson Fury out in America get that draw with Deontay Wilder, controversial in many people's eyes. That 12th round miraculous get up, which I mean was still incredible to think of now, but what did you make of all that from back then?
I just thought it was a fantastic end to the chapter in Tyson Fury's career, which he's gone through, you know, because you're talking about everything he's gone through in the last 2 years. I think this fight and what happened in it was a fantastic way to close that chapter and move forward now for him. The drama, it was typical of everything that's happened to him on it. You know, the fight like mirrored the story for the last 2 years. He obviously thought he deserved to win.
You believe he won the fight?
I believe he won the fight, but I can also see the draw, because 2 knockdowns means 2 10-8 rounds, and then if the judges give Wilder 1 or 2 of the earlier rounds, which may have been a little bit closer when they were feeling each other out, then you can see it. But I think overall, I think he deserved to win the fight. But yeah, I think boxing won, like they said after the fight, boxing won, and they can go again. Or it's just made everything even more interesting, hasn't it, in the heavyweight division? It's like it's what people have been desperate to see for years, you know, and now they are.
What's your pick for the main event on Saturday? A fighter you've been linked with all the way through your career, Derek Chisora,
yeah, Derek. Do you know what? I had Derek winning the first one. I think since then there's different ways to look at it. Dillian's tested himself since then, and he hasn't really needed to the way he has. He could have just treaded water, Dillian, and still waited for his shot. But you know, he's tested himself at good level. Parker, Brown, Hellenius, who else he fought? He's been through a few, though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's keeping busy, so he's got great momentum. But then you've got Derek, who's coming off his career best win against a fucking good fighter, career best win, and now changed his training regime. He's getting a bit older. I believe he looks really good, so it's difficult, and I'm sitting on the fence a little bit. You had to put a gun to my head, I might say this time White will nick it on points, but deservedly.
Just finally, if I could say to you, if things go your way this Saturday, if I could offer you 3 fights for 2019, 3 realistic fights for you, what would you say?
I'd say Lucas Brown.
Yeah.
Dave Allen. And then I haven't really looked. Do you know what? I'd like to rematch Christian Ame.
Because that was another fight that
I'd like to,
you had in your hands at one point,
that's another fight. I'd like to rematch Christian Ame. So them 3, yeah.
Okay. Well, listen.
And all doable, really. You know, so that's why this Saturday the utmost importance, you know.
All right, well, listen, thank you very much for your time,
Yeah,
David. I know the press conference is going to begin in a little while, so appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck on Saturday night.
Mate.
All right, top man, Dave.
Thanks.